you haven't probably met Pete Marchand, but he's the fire chief in Winchester Center. And we had a 3-lot subdivision on what, Reaching Hill? Peter,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
And that had to have a cistern put in there, and it was put in the approval, but the rest of the details of, making sure it was in there before a lot was sold. And then Peter brought up, once they're in, who's maintaining them? And
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah, no, exactly. So it's, Peter brings a huge amount of information. Plus he used to be, were you chair on the planning and zoning years ago, Peter?
No, not chair.
But you were certainly a big participant years ago.
I was there for a while, yes.
Yeah, okay. So we got a good commission with a lot of varied background, which is important, I think, in what we're doing.
It helps things go along.
Oh, I agree with you. I agree. Have we heard from John?
John's here.
Oh, he is. Okay. Hi,
Yeah.
John. And how about
Good
Jerry?
evening. Sorry, I didn't realize my mute was on.
That's okay.
Good evening.
Yeah, I'm here, George.
Oh,
Jerry's
good.
here, too.
Hi, Jerry.
Hi.
A lot of activity on that desegregate Connecticut. We'll talk about that later, but Jesus. Anyways, all right. We got a full house. Let me call a meeting to order on April 12th. And Pam, we've got the roll call, so everybody's up and running here. Anybody have anything on agenda review? Okay. Number 4 is public hearing. This is the PZC 20-30 special permit, 149 Newfield Road, East Coast Assistance, the ECAD project, special permit for phase 3 of training kennel and modify approved site plan. Pam, could you bring us up to date on how we are timing?
Yes, we're fine, because I reviewed that. I know we're fine. I don't believe this is the one that has only one more meeting. But we did receive a request for continuance. They do not yet have their approval from the Inland Wetlands Commission. So their Inland Wetlands meets on April 16th. And they'll be back before them, not April 16th, I'm sorry, April 21st.
Pam, has Wetlands done a walkthrough up there yet?
I don't think so.
No?
So you said their meeting is when?
April 21st.
Okay, so our next meeting is the 26th. So we may have something for that meeting then, possibly.
Mhm.
Okay, all right. Then we need a motion just to continue the public hearing without, actually, we're not going to open it tonight, but continue it to the April 26th meeting, if I could have that motion.
So move.
I'll move.
And who seconded?
I'll second it.
Okay, Craig, okay. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, just raise your hand. And Art? Verbally?
Want to give Art a prompt to unmute.
Okay, all right.
Art, are you in
Good.
favor of the motion?
Arthur?
Can you hear me?
Now we can, Art.
Now we can.
Okay.
We just put a motion forward to carry the ECAD application to April 26th meeting. Art, are you in favor of that?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so we've got it, we're unanimous. Okay, the next item is old business. The, well, 5A is the same issue, which is continued. And then we've got a special permit, 100 New Hartford Road, James Klasko.
Yeah.
Special.
His documents are completed, but they were just finished today. So
Okay,
he's in a position to move forward with wetlands. So you'll likely be accepting his application. You'll have receive the copies physically for your April 26th meeting.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so that doesn't require any action. Okay, number 6, new business, the 824 referrals. Do we have anybody from the town?
Yep, there he is.
Do we have anybody?
Yeah, yes, Bart Clark is here.
Bart,
I think he's
okay.
just coming on. Yep.
Yeah, sorry, just had it on mute for a minute. Yeah, Bart Clark from the Department of Public Works, here to represent the town and request that the commission give a consideration of an 824 referral on 3 projects tonight. The first project is that the Crystal Lake project? Is that the first one on the agenda?
It's the
Walton Tail.
it's
Wallens Hill.
Wallens and Stowe Road. The Wallens Hill storage tank replacement.
I can share video if allowed, or otherwise we can just do it based on the paper plans that we provided for you.
I mean, you co-host, Bart, I'll do it again, and all you gotta do is accept, So,
This is a site plan, the preliminary site plan that our engineers has submitted to the Department of Public Health as part of the approval process for the Safe Drinking Water Act funds. Or, sorry, not Safe Water Drinking Act funds, a different program. The SRF funds, state revolving loan funds. The town is looking, the water department is looking to replace the existing 1.5 million gallon tank. If you can see my cursor there, that's the tank that everybody can see from the road. That's kind of a greenish rust colored. Down there, it's a 1.5 million gallon tank. It's no longer in service, and we need to replace this tank with another tank further up the hill in one of these 2 locations. And the reason for replacing this tank is to try to improve the service pressures during times of high flows for all the higher elevations from Northwest Regional School to Florence Avenue and other higher spots throughout the town. It'll also give us an opportunity to improve the water quality to some extent, and it won't degrade. The more important thing is it won't degrade the water quality like the old 1.5 million gallon storage tank, where there was significant problems with low chlorine residuals and high disinfection byproducts. So the current tank is accessed off of Wallens Hill. Our new proposed locations will have an access off of Stowe Road. And, with the driveway that goes considerably back, have very limited visibility to the to anybody passing by on either road. This 824 referral just begins the approval process. We'll have to come before the commission for a full site plan review and special permit process. So there's quite a bit left to do with both the design of the tanks and the site improvements around the tanks. So sorry, dog's barking in the background. So lost my train of thought. Sorry, get started here again. Again, the approval process is just beginning because we have to get approvals both from the local Wetlands Commission, the State Department of Public Health, and of course the site plan review process through the Planning Commission. And we're trying to get the 824 referral under our belt at this point in time to help us proceed with the funding process, the bonding issues and referendums that we need to go through here in the next several months. I think they're trying to schedule a referendum for June. So the reason to come before you with an 824 referral now before we have full full design is to give you a conceptual idea of what we're doing, or planning to do, and start the approval process, knowing that we'll come back later with more detail.
Art, that's all town-owned property that,
Yes, the town owns about 18 acres of property at the intersection of the two roads, minus this one little cutout here, a couple acre cutout right on the corner of Stowe and Wallen Street.
now is the existing tank going to be refurbished?
No, the existing tank, there's no plans immediately for what's happening with the existing tank. We want to get the new tanks in service first, and
Yeah.
then the existing tank will probably either be repurposed for something other than a water storage tank, or taken, demolished and taken off the property altogether.
Okay, so, I mean, this is the starting point, the key issue to get this thing so to go through the Board of Selectmen and then a town meeting?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, yeah. All right, this is,
I got one question.
yes, Art, go ahead.
The existing tank is a 1.5 million gallons, but we only need a million to replace it.
Yes. At the time they were to design the tank back in the 70s, the primary purpose for the tank was to provide fire flows. And as experience has shown since the 1970s, that tank really didn't do much to assist the system, and it was actually a detriment to the system because of its excess volume. The disinfection by, again, like I said before, that there was problems with disinfection byproducts and low chlorine residuals for the water in that tank, which could potentially have a contamination issue if a lot of water was drawn out of that tank and got into the homes nearby.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Commissioners.
next question is that I have option 1, it has a 500,000 gallon tank. And then it says option 2, a larger tank, but it only says a 500,000 gallons.
That's the way that the water tanks work. The lower tank is smaller in diameter but taller, and the higher tank is larger in diameter but shorter. It have a certain elevation that the maximum water level can be in the tank. So we're just looking at a couple of different options to provide a serviceable tank with the same elevation and the same overflow elevation in both sites, but the heights of each tank is different.
So a 500,000 gallons is more than enough then.
Yes. Yep.
So it's-
Okay, thank you.
So the determination of which of the two possibilities is going to be on basically your cost basis for the whole development of the site and the cost of the tank itself?
Yeah. Once we move ahead with more engineering, we'll look at some of the grading issues around both tanks. You can see that the grades for the smaller diameter tank is shown here. You can see what impact it has. There's quite an embankment behind the tank, and the larger diameter tank will have as much or less, as much or more of an embankment behind it. And so there's going to be some cost differentials between one site to the other site.
Mhm.
And we're also going to look at what the foundation conditions are under the tank. If there's ledge in one place as opposed to ledge if there's ledge in one place, it's going to make it less feasible to do. So we're going to try. We're leaving our options open until we do the subsurface testing at that point.
Okay, so no soil borings have been done. It's just conceptual now. Okay.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. How about going through the members of the commission? Craig, do you have any questions?
No, the only thing that Art brought it up of what was going to happen to the old tank, and that's been discussed. So I beyond that, I don't have any comment.
Okay. Peter?
Yeah, I think most of my questions have been answered. I mean, when it comes to site plan review, we can discuss about the old tank, what the options are and what will be done at that point.
Sure, that's a good point.
Yeah, based on everything Bart has to say, I agree with him. And from a fire standpoint, it's proven that I think that 500,000 tank is more than adequate, especially with what tanks are going to be up at the water treatment plant and all the new mains that have been put in town over the last 30 years.
Okay. Art, did you have anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Jerry?
I'm good, thanks.
Okay. Willie?
Please.
Do you have anything, Will?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was muted. No, I don't have anything to add. I'm good with what's been
Okay.
said.
John?
I can see a lot of work went into this and it's very clear. I think it's great
Yeah,
work.
it's I sit on sewer and water, and we're way behind the 8 ball as far as our infrastructure. So these are really good forward, thinking projects. And the other thing is the timing, the funding opportunities that our finance director brought up to us at our sewer and water meeting last month, and it was brought up to the selectmen, I think, this past week. This would be really an improvement for the infrastructure in the community. Okay. Why don't we, since we're on this and the topics for this, we've got individual applications. These aren't public hearings. It's a matter of if everybody's happy with it, can we have a motion with regards to a positive recommendation for the Board of Selectmen to move forward with this?
Craig, it's Peter. I'll make a motion that we move forward with this project.
Okay.
I second it.
Art's seconded. Any discussion of the rest of the seated commissioners? Okay, all in favor?
Are we voting on just this or the three?
Yes, each individual, I thought, Craig, and then,
Okay. No, I'm just asking.
so any more comments or questions on this particular one? All right, then all in favor of the positive recommendation that was forwarded. This is on PZC 21-03-824 referral. Just raise your hand or speak, Art.
Approved.
Okay, unanimous. Okay, Bart, the next one is 21-04, another 824 referral, the up at the waterworks. Can you describe that one for us?
Sure, I'll share the screen here again and yeah, this is the Crystal Lakes treatment plant up on Winchester Road. This is the general location plan for it. It's just off of Winchester Road, 338 Winchester Road. So, and this is the preliminary site plan. Winchester Road is up here.
Hey, Bart, it's
And-
not showing up.
Okay, let me try to share again.
Sorry. There we go.
Okay, great. So again, this is up on Winchester Road, right where the Winchester Road is down here on the plan. This is the driveway to the treatment plant, and this is the existing treatment plant down here. There's an existing storage tank, concrete storage tank that's here at the cursor, and we're proposing a new new storage tank just up the hill from the existing one. Right here, it's another 500,000 gallon storage tank, and the size. Let's start with the purpose of the new tank is that the existing tank has some repair that needs to be done on the inside to the concrete. it's spalled off over the years and is showing some rebar and things of that sort. And before the corrosion gets too far along, we want to be able to take the old tank offline and after we have the new tank online, so that we can do the repairs in the existing tank. The size of the existing or the proposed tank is 500,000 gallons, which is the existing tank is 1 million gallons. The new tank is 500,000 gallons, and it's same diameter, but it's a much shorter tank, about half the height. That's because we're looking for the same overflow elevations for both tanks. But as you go up the hill, the tank doesn't need to be as high to achieve the volume that we need. The volume that we're looking for is pretty much dictated by Department of Health requirements for chlorine contact time. One of the processes in the tank that happens right now is the chlorine is added to the water as a final step, and it comes into the tank, and it just allows the water and chlorine to coexist together for a little while, and to kill whatever bacteria that remains after the treatment process. So that chlorine contact time is important to providing healthy, clean water. So the excuse me, again, the tank is there's not too many options on this particular property in order to get the tank at the right size and away from wetlands. You can see that there's a band of wetlands that runs down alongside the tank locations. And there's a control zone in here. So we can't move the tank further in this direction because it's there's not enough land there in order to stay out of the wetlands with the new storage tank and maintain the elevation that we need. And the further
Right.
we bring it toward the wetlands, the closer it becomes to the road also. So we're kind of forced into having this particular location just because of the site constraints and the constraints of the treatment system. So,
I had
go ahead.
Go ahead,
a
Art.
couple questions. This is Art. With the when we get through with all this, what is the time frame for putting this new one up at Crystal Lake? Next
Well,
spring?
Yeah, we're looking to start next spring.
And
Go ahead,
how
Art.
long does it take to get the new one up?
The style of tank that we're proposing to use out there is a bolted steel tank. It's made by a company called Aquastore, and these are reasonably reasonably quick to assemble. Actually the construction of the foundation takes as long or longer than construction of the tank sides and roof itself. The roof is actually built first. The foundation is built first. The roof is built on top of the foundation, and they jack the roof up as the walls are added to the tank. And that process will generally take, for a tank of this size, probably 4 to 6 weeks at tops.
So by the time the new tank is up, all the lines are in, the tank is full of water, and the old tank gets drained, you're into winter, so we wouldn't be able to do any repairs to the old one until the following spring.
Correct, yeah. We'd also have to get the budgeting in place for the repairs to the new tank, but we need to have
Right.
this infrastructure online in order to be able to plan for that additional work that needs to be done on the existing tank.
Right, so this is, you almost can say this is a 2-year project if everything runs right.
With everything involved, yes, yeah, at least 2 years, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Art, so you repair the old tank. How do the two of them are going to function together?
Most likely they'll be operated in parallel, but the way we're going to each tank is, both tanks are gonna be online at the same time. So the treatment system won't see any difference whether there's one tank or two tanks online. And but it does allow us the option to take one tank off, either the existing tank or the new tank offline, so in case any work needs to be done to either one of them. And it continues to provide the chlorine contact time and fire storage for fire flows and things of that sort, as in any time that one of the two tanks is offline.
Our problem is without this new tank, we're in jeopardy here when we get the first tank that goes down from a maintenance standpoint.
Well, yeah, because if something happens and the state says we got to shut it down, right?
Right.
Can they do that?
It would take a very bad condition for them to tell you to take the existing tank offline, because it's such a critical part of the treatment process, with the chlorine contact time.
Right.
But this is a necessity that should have probably been in the original plan, so that you've got the ability to maintain in long term. So this is a critical addition.
My last question.
Yep.
The new tank is, you said, steel, correct?
Correct.
How long does that last before repairs would have to be done inside to that?
Well, the type of tank that it is, it's a steel tank with a glass fused to steel coating. It's
okay.
It's kind of like an old teapot that you see with,
yep,
it used to see. And it's a very, very tough coating, and many tanks of this type are getting minimal maintenance after 50 to 60 years. So it's a very long-lived tank.
Well, we ain't going to be here. Good.
Probably not.
Craig, start from you. Any questions or comments?
No, I'm comfortable with what they're proposing.
Okay, Peter,
No, I'm good.
Jerry,
I'm good.
and Art, you've already, anything else that you have to add or would like to?
No, I'm
Okay,
fine. Thank you for the answers.
okay. Very important for our future, for a community. So can we have a motion to another positive recommendation to the Board of Selectmen for PZC number 21-04 CGS 824 referral 338.
I'll make the motion.
Art's
I'll
motion.
second it.
Craig's second. Any
Yep.
further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand if you would, and Art verbally.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, the third part is PZC 21-05 Case Center, Tebow, Greenwoods, and Halliburton Avenue. Water line replacements.
I'll share my screen again. We don't have anything other than to show you where we're proposing to put the water storage tank, or not, yeah, storage tank, sorry, the new water lines. This is just a vicinity map. Sorry, it's a vicinity map that shows the water lines and the streets where the water lines are going to be replaced. Center, Case, Tebow, Greenwoods, and then Halliburton Avenue. All these lines are old lines. Most people feel that they're 1800, late 1800s vintage. So they're in pretty bad shape, and they've had a history of breaks, Halliburton especially. And the Tebow Avenue, Greenwoods, and Center are in a very high pressure area of the system, 150 psi down here, which is toward the maximum pressure that you want in a system. So we want to replace these with the full size 8-inch pipes that are no longer have the deposits and everything that come with age for water lines. They're unlined cast iron. So these are in an effort to help improve reliability, improve water quality in these areas. But we'd like to replace these. So it's pretty straightforward of stripping out the old mains and putting in new mains to replace what we take out. So they'll be going in exactly the same place as the old ones are, but with a larger diameter and cleaner pipe. So
And some good as-built, I presume.
absolutely. So
Valves, and, you've run into down on South Main and then probably other areas where you get these emergency repairs. Questions from the commission?
I have
I have
a
a-
question not directly to this, but as you all well know, I'm very familiar with Bridgeport. And Bridgeport brought in some people from Massachusetts, and they went through the all of the sewers and then put a coating on. Is that a I have no idea what the economics, knowing Bridgeport, economics are probably not good, but just a thought or a mind process is that I know a lot of the mains in town are old. Is this something that could be considered?
The town has done some what they call cement lining in places in the system, where you scrape out the existing pipe, to clean up the inside of the pipe, and you spray on a cement coating on the inside of the tank. Inside of the pipe, and the keys to making that process work is that the host pipe, as they call it, the existing pipe, needs to be in really good condition and not have a long history of breaks. Where in these mains that we're looking at have a history of breaks over time, so we'd rather not spend the money on putting in that cement lining in a pipe that may break in a year or two down the road. So
no, I'm only asking the question. I'm not challenging your actions. I know for about 5 years, Bridgeport, every time you went down to Main Streets, they had these huge units. I mean, 4, 5, 6 trucks, just pushing the stuff in.
It's a great process in the right location. So
yeah.
Are your pressures on the Halliburton Avenue, are they as high as the other?
At the pressure changes with elevation. So at the lowest point of the Halliburton Avenue, the pressures are still pretty high.
Yeah.
On 120 psi, 130 psi. But as you get up to the top near Florence Avenue, it's they're low again. They're 50, 60 psi there at the tops.
Okay.
Hey, Bart, this is Peter. I believe a lot of the existing mains you're looking to replace are 6, so you're going to be going from 6 to 8-inch, which will improve fire flow there a lot too.
There's most of the mains are being replaced with 8-inch diameter, with the exception of Tebow and Greenwoods.
Okay.
They're going to be a smaller 6-inch diameter pipe, primarily just to keep the water age in that area as low as possible. There's not too many big users on those pipes to keep the water fresh, so that's why we went with a smaller diameter pipe there.
Okay.
This is Art again, but the 6-inch pipe, the pressure will still be maintained.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. Jerry?
Yeah, you show 5 mains here. What's the total count for all of downtown? It sounds like it's a big project. It's gonna be a multi-year replacement.
There's a lot of pipes throughout town. Most of the pipes are in pretty good condition. The commission's been doing a long-term process, starting back in the 80s with replacement of new mains and cement lining pipes in certain locations. So this is an ongoing effort. It won't stop. Even if every few years you're going to have to do some additional mains to replace the older ones. And right now they're looking to replace Perkins and Fruit Street. It's another very old section, but that's a future project. Not quite sure when that'll be done based on finances, and obviously we don't want the rates to go out of sight by all these construction projects. There are other areas throughout town that are having trouble with water quality, like Upland Avenue, the Benton Street and Royer Street have been having troubles with water quality. And we're going to try to do some intermediate steps to try to clean up the water quality in there, but the replacement of the water lines will have to take some time until, as a commission can afford to do new water lines, it will do new water lines. But again, it's a long-term process to correct, pipes that are more than 100 years old in many places, and you don't do it overnight. So.
Yeah. Do both those tanks you just mentioned in the prior two approvals, are they the primary source for water in town? Or you have other tanks?
No, well, the true source of the water is the Crystal Lake Reservoir, and the storage tanks just hold treated water available for the system when it needs it. It's like your hydromatic tank at your house if you have a well. Don't know whether you have a well or whether you're on the municipal system. So
No, well, that's what I'm asking. So that's basically the two primary delivery systems.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks.
Willie?
I have one more question.
Art, go ahead.
On the drawing map, it says remove and legally dispose of existing gate valve. What does that mean, legally dispose?
it was an odd term that the engineers added to some preliminary plans we just received from them. The valves, when they come out, will likely be scrap metal. He probably is looking at legally disposed to make sure that there's no lead in the old valve or in the brass that's part of the old valve. So we just don't want to dispose of it.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Some of the pipes ain't lead, are they?
The pipes, no. We expect that we'll probably find some lead service connections and stuff, which is another reason for us to be doing these really old mains. But it's most of those lead services were taken out of service some years ago by the Water Commission. So.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Willie?
I don't have any questions. This is
Okay.
a well-deserved project. We've been waiting for stuff like this for a long time.
Good step forward. And,
It is.
just an aside, if our finance director is correct, we stand a good chance of getting major forbearance of any of the money we have to borrow. So it depends on how fast we can get this going forward, why the timing is critical. John?
Very educational. Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead. Somebody else had a question? Okay, let's like to entertain a motion for PZC 21-05, CGS 824 referral for a positive referral to the Board of Selectmen.
I so move.
Okay, Craig, and who's somebody second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Peter second. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, raise your hand, and Art verbally.
Approved.
Okay, thanks, Bart. Important first step.
Great. Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night. Okay, everybody should have the March 22nd regular meeting minutes. We have a motion with regards to approving.
I move to accept the
Okay, Craig made a motion.
the
to
minutes
approve.
is presented. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'll second.
second from Art. Let's see, who was, Jerry and Will were absent excused. So all in favor, unless there's a correction? Okay, fine. Very good. Thank you. Pam, communications?
I don't have any. I don't have any communications for the commission.
Okay, staff report?
Staff report, our zoning enforcement officer, Mark Melanson, has returned to work from medical leave after 5 months. I don't have any new zoning permits that have come in for commercial development. We've had inquiry for, it is believed that Cumberland Farms is acquiring 29 Main Street.
This is the Mercury Oil.
Yes, Mercury Fuels, yep. But there's, I have no word what's happening with 115 Main Street. I'm sure, you've all read in the paper that the front building at 10 Bridge Street changed hands. I don't have any information about any proposed use there.
I did, all I heard was it was offered for a little over $1, but it has changed hands?
Yes, yep.
Okay. All right. You
Yeah,
got you got a couple of restaurants there. One of them's up at the,
Railroad Cafe. She announced on Facebook. I wish I had
I
written.
think it
down
was the
date.
14th or something.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. I'm sure there'll be a lot of fanfare there. So you see that the gas station at 787 Main Street has moved along.
Mhm.
That's the one that sits opposite of the library.
Mhm.
There's just a lot of residential development in terms of additions. We had maybe 2 new single family residences, but I get a lot of inquiries on larger pieces of land too, that have sat for a while and, appear to be changing hands. The amount of requests that have come in to review building permit files, just is definitely indicative of just, how much development there is. There is a ton of permits flowing through the building department.
Okay.
On residential or commercial?
Residential mostly. Residential improvements.
Yeah.
Talking to you the other day, Pam, but you must have a long list of issues that need to be addressed with zoning enforcement.
Yeah, there's very similar to, what was occurring last summer with with roosters. There's a lot of roosters getting neighbors letting us know when decks are being built. YouTube, for anyone who might be watching on YouTube, or for anyone who may ask any of you, yes, you do indeed need a permit for decks. You need permits for sheds. Most people understand that they need permits for sheds, but you need them for decks, even if it's in the exact same location.
Mhm. Okay. Has anything been done from adding to the inspector force here? I mean, Mark's back, but
From what I understand, and I had checked with Terry Hall. Terry Hall is the administrative assistant to Bob. I believe that civil service has, they had wanted more information on the job description. For the, that was at the February meeting. The March 25th minutes have not come out yet, so I don't know what the discussion was at the March meeting, but at the February, how come I'm getting feedback? At the February meeting, they were looking for more information, because you have to remember this job description, this job that is being added, it's supported by the Board of Selectmen and it's added to the fiscal year 22 budget, is for a combined zoning enforcement officer, inland wetlands officer, and blight officer. Right now I handle wetlands, you know, as much as I do, and Mark handles zoning as much as he does. We've all, between Mark, Bob and I, Mark is the blight officer, but it's a joint venture, you know, when something has to be checked out, when, you know, a blight offender, for lack of a better term, someone we've cited for blight, a blighted property indicates that, well, no, they've brought it up. You know, sometimes Bob runs out there and takes pictures to verify. You know, that was, you know, definitely a group effort for the last 5 years. Zoning, you know, yeah, it's been a challenge with Mark's absence, no doubt. You know, we've been very lean in terms of man versus number of hours, but you know, Mark's back. You know, he popped out today to go check something out. You know, he's mobile. And we plan to continue we have someone that covers building inspections about 8 to 10 hours a week, and we plan to continue that for at least another 2.5 months was the plan.
Okay.
Maybe longer, but you know, Bob is supporting the building department in that respect, just with
Good.
the stepped up building activity that we're seeing. You know, when Mark was unable to do the inspections because of, you know, he had his leg in a cast. We had a building official from another town, Bill Velosky. He'll remain with us for another week, 2 weeks, and then he's being replaced by another individual who again is going to be working a couple mornings. So he's going to switch to afternoons, 8 to 10 hours. And then, yeah. But as far as being advertised, no, the job has not been advertised.
Okay.
Because I believe it's still sitting, it's making its way through civil service in terms
Okay.
of approving that job description.
All right. Well, if we want to grow the grand list and we want people to make application and follow the regulations, we definitely need consistent enforcement, or there's no point in us sitting in these commissions, frankly. Anybody else have any comments with regards to what Pam just brought up? Okay. Other business, POCD, I guess you're still putting some things together. I know I saw the request that you made, Pam. Details from just some request out for information.
Did I? To who? No, I sent something to you this afternoon. Is that what you're referring to?
I didn't see it today.
Okay, so am I waiting for things from the commission members? I think there was.
Jerry was going to give us something with regards to the conservation chapter.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't have anything. I apologize to the commission. I've just been tied up with other things. So I'm going to jump on that. One of the things I did want to go over, George, I don't know if I have time for it tonight, is there's a lot of items that are in the conservation section, which I think are covered now in our regulations when we did our rewrite a few years ago.
Right.
And so I think it'd be beneficial if just the commission were to go through section by section and say, you know, check off and say, look, at this is no longer needed. It was recommended back 10 years ago. But a lot of things, as I was reviewing for this particular meeting, a lot of things seem to be covered in our regulations. So I think that would tighten things up a lot. The other aspect of it, you know, the whole COVID experience has really changed the feeling of the conservation part, whereas a lot of it was focused on downtown. And I think a lot of the things as far as development and conservation, I don't think have been met over the past 10 years.
Mhm.
So a lot of those things should be questioned once again by the commission. Do we really need some of these features, some of these sections?
Mhm.
And if we do, should they be updated to reflect the fact that more and more people are trying to get away from a centralized, you know, where you have parks and different things that are all sort of pulling people in downtown. And because of the pandemic, people are starting to spread out again. So I don't know if that should be reflected in our conservation, if there's still a focus on the downtown, which doesn't really seem to have, you know, progressed that far from what was mentioned 10 years ago. So, you know, it's just sort of changed the perspective, I think. the commission may have other viewpoints on that and just continue on with what was there. But as far as what's currently in the regulations as to what was suggested, various committees that were suggested, I don't know if they still apply or not, but I think we could do that in one session and just tighten things up.
Yeah, we went through, Jerry, the last meeting.
Okay.
We went through almost page by page, but we'll take another look at the conservation area. And we're kind of waiting for you to, give us your point of view on it. So that's good. Appreciate it. So we'll why don't we regroup on that and really focus on it next meeting?
Sounds good.
We're going to have a busy meeting, I think, but we need to get this one put to bed and then get it to a draft situation because there's so many days of lead time on putting it out to the COG and our neighboring communities and so forth. So if that's okay with the commission, we'll do that.
Yeah.
All right, good. Peter, we sent around the draft copy of fire cistern regulation. Peter, if you could kind of give us a capsulized view of what that's going to do to accomplish.
Yep, be glad to. Back when I first came back onto the commission as an alternate, I was made aware of an issue with the cistern up on Reaching Hill Road, Forest Avenue, that was put in, and Winston Fire Department, it was bottom line, no one maintains it, nobody checks it or anything. So I did some research and pulled up some regulations from several states and cities and towns and changed them, reworded them for our benefit, and had submitted them to our town planner at the time, Steve Sadlowski, and talked to him several times, and they didn't go anywhere from there. So that's why I sent them to you, George, this last month, just so
Good.
Once we get done with our POCD and everything else, if we ever get to subdivision regulations, I think it's something that, especially with a lot of large tracts of land that are available in town, that people may be looking at, that we want to do something with that for subdivision regulations, because it is necessary for fire protection. It's critical. But the other critical thing is the maintenance and upkeep of them, so it doesn't become a burden on either the fire department or the town itself.
Well, that's critical. Otherwise, the whole purpose is defeated if they're not taken care of.
Yes.
I appreciate your time doing that, and I think we'll get that up. And I don't know if Troy, you're still online. I'll send you a copy of it so you can see it.
Yeah, like I said, I also sent a copy to Fire Chief Legassi in Winston, and he's going to go through it, and he may have some suggestions, things to change or add.
Okay.
And converse with them, and once we get another rough draft, I'll get it out to you.
Okay, that's excellent. A couple of the commission members brought up to me, we signed a declaration of our position with regards to what Jerry brought in. So that was sent around. I appreciate you providing that to us, and everybody supported it on the commission. I had signed up for this just so I keep track of that whole Desegregate Connecticut website. I get the impression that when you sign up, they thought you were in favor of it automatically. I wanted to make sure I just heard what was going on. And recently, it didn't get all, I don't think it's passed completely. There might be a section or two that went forward, but they sent things around by an email, and it was a prepared statement that they gave you so that you could send it to your representative. And of course, it was all in favor of everything they wanted. So I erased everything they put in there, and I just sent my comments. And I actually called and left word to Jay Case, who's our representative. And Jay did get back to me the next day. Well, actually, one of his people in the office or wherever they are called me and wanted me to just give him a nutshell of what I was talking about. I says, yeah, have Jay call me. And Jay did. And What he can do or can't do because they're in the minority, I don't know, but I let him know what the feeling is from my standpoint. And I didn't say I was representing the commission other than we all signed that document. So who knows, but I think we all ought to be paying attention to some of this stuff because a lot of the situations here are trying to get people out of the inner city and thinking just a redistribution of people is going to solve something, and it certainly isn't by shoving it down our throats, any of our communities. And there's a lot of towns that are doing soil-based zoning for the simple reason that they don't have a sewer system. They've got to depend on sewage disposal on site, and that dictates basically the size of a buildable lot in certain soil conditions. So there's more to it than just one straight answer to one size fits all. So we're in this all together for our community, and I think that we are covered as far as our zoning. We've got a lot of flexibility and the capability for all types of different housing in appropriate areas, and our infrastructure is supporting that. But just a word to everybody to pay attention to it, and if you have some comments, bring it up at our meetings, and if we need to say something more to the COG, let's do it. Any other comments tonight? It'll be a pretty brief meeting, but
George, I was part of the public hearing that they had on the Desegregate Connecticut.
yes.
And it I actually signed up for testimony. I was number 240 something or other, way up in the 200s. And always experienced waiting to do testimony for that. But the sad thing about it was they front loaded it with all the people who were pro naturally.
Yeah.
And it went,
Sure.
I was on till about 3:30 in the morning with it, and finally went to bed. And when I got back up around 9, they shut down the hearing at 10 o'clock.
Oh.
And there was still another 24 hours worth of testimony, and everything started to get really interesting after midnight. There was a number of presentations or testimony from members of the COGs, various COGs, like the Western COG and the Connecticut River Valley COG, which I guess is Portland down along the Connecticut River, central part of the state. And they brought up very fascinating, very informative topics as to why all of this was bad, just from a practical standpoint.
Yeah.
And even though Jay Case was not really part of the public hearing, the minority that was there, they handled themselves very well. It seems that most of the people, their view of Connecticut is that everybody's on a rail line. They're on Metro North for some reason. And everybody should be able to walk to the train station and get their food by walking. And that would be rather difficult in Winsted, which just to get to Stop and Shop would take you, quite a bit of time to hike over there and back. So it was rather interesting, but rather disappointing that a number of the people who were basically from zoning commissions, I mean, that was the sad thing. They were backloaded, and then they canceled they stopped the hearing. So it was definitely a lot of power politics going on in that 24 hours. But yeah, everybody should be aware. They're trying to eliminate, our zoning commission.
Yeah.
And you would end up something like with these siting commissions instead of our zoning commission. So
Yeah.
we know how that goes just with the solar and other things that have happened in our neck of the woods. So it's very important everybody stay on top of this.
Yeah, that I agree with you, Jerry. This is they can come up with some things. First of all, if you don't agree with them, you're a racist, and that's to me is really a shame, because it's to me, we ought to be able to have a legitimate conversation and agree to disagree, but at least support your argument rather than just shoving it down somebody's throat. So okay. Any more comments from the commissioners tonight?
No, I'm good. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
Okay,
Second it.
second. Okay, all in favor? And Art?
Aye.
Thank you.